What's good, everybody? Welcome back into the BDGE Dynasty channel. My name is Adam. If you're new to the channel, go down and hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss any of the content that we're bringing to you every single week, Monday through Friday. And today, Thursday, April 4th, we are merely 3 weeks away from the NFL draft. We're getting close, man. We're getting close. And make sure you're tapped in 3 weeks on NFL draft round 1. The entire Thursday, we're going to be streaming that whole round 1 of the draft. Nick, Andrew, and myself, I'll be in New York. And while the NFL will be drafting the incoming rookies, I'm actually in a handful of leagues which are doing our rookie drafts before the NFL draft. And I made 2 trades on the clock during draft day. So today what the video is going to be about is trading on draft day. I want to go through a lot of different things with you here. But before we get into all that, you already know what time it is. I need you to stand up, tuck your shirts in, stop yapping. It's time to talk trades. All right, so let's talk about it. Draft day trading. And in Dynasty, once you do your startup draft, every single year after that, those drafts are only going to be rookie drafts moving forward. And rookie drafts are some of the most hyped times in Dynasty as far as peaks and values for certain players, right? You think about it. There is such a rookie euphoria that takes place because once the NFL season is over, officially after the Super Bowl in February, by about March, the large majority of the Dynasty community is extremely focused on what's going on with the rookie class upon us. So when it comes to your Dynasty rookie drafts, these players who have been talked about ad nauseum for months all have draft capital, all have landing spots, and with that in mind, they are really hitting a peak in value. And at this time, people are going to see the players that have been talked about and have been hyped for this entire time start being drafted to teams across their leagues, and teams that end up being left out because they've either traded away their picks or they're just drafting way too late in the draft. Those people that are seeing all the other teams, the competition in their league draft, this may cause them to make an impulsive decision and make a trade that they otherwise would not make. And at this time, all the rookie picks that have just been sitting there with a number 101, 107, 109, whatever the pick is, those are about to be converted into a currency of players. And these young players, which we have hyped up for so long, they're going to be some of the most desired assets in all of your Dynasty league. And it's also going to be this euphoric feeling because you're pressing the button and selecting rookies during draft day. Now, inherently, veterans are going to become devalued, in particular, some of these aging vets, which people view as running out of time. And because of all that, there may be some trades which come to you or that you make happen, which really are only going to be able to present themselves during draft day. Now, like I told you, there was 2 trades which I made during draft day on the clock. I want to go over both of them with you, but I want to break down the differences. And one was an incoming offer that was sent to me. The other one was me being proactive in an outgoing offer that I sent to someone else. Now, in Dynasty leagues, we know that a lot of the incoming offers you get are going to be trash, stuff that you don't want to take. They may not even be worth countering back or sending the counter back to someone because they're so far apart from where you're at as far as values go. But this is important, I think, to understand where these picks are, what the players are going to be that you're drafting in this range, and then ultimately understanding that currency so when incoming offers come to you, you'll be able to sniff out what's worth your time and what isn't. But when this incoming offer that is sent to you isn't an auto accept or decline, it's not a smash offer one way or the other, these are the things I think that are important to think about and assess with your team as well as the other team in your league to really make the best decision on incoming offers. First, what position is my team in? Assessing your team and being real and honest with yourself about that according to the league. So are you in a rebuild mode? Were you in a rebuild that you're ready to come out of? You have a lot of young ascending assets and you're going to have a very good chance to make that pivot into a contender this year. Are you in a great position? You're flush with assets and you're contending and you have some youth, or are you one of these really strong contenders? Let's say you got some age going on in your team. Whatever the answer is, it's important to have a real true understanding and handle on that, because if you don't understand where your team is and where you want to go with your team, it's going to be really hard to assess what you actually want to do when offers are close. And if you don't really understand where your team currently is and where you want to go with it, you may end up accepting or rejecting a trade, which ultimately, in hindsight, isn't the best move for you considering what you want to do with your team. So this is where I want to start when an incoming offer comes to me on draft day. Now, the next thing I'm going to ask myself is, what is my level of flexibility? Obviously, this is going to be based on how I feel about my team and what position I think it is in and what I'm trying to do with it. So if you're in more of a rebuild mode, you may be a lot more flexible. You may say, I'm willing to punt. Meaning, when someone comes for your first round pick this year, you may be one of the few teams that's willing to go out to 2025. So I'll take your 2025 first and let's say an additional second in 2025, or a first in 25 plus another piece. I'm willing to kick the can down the road as far as value goes, get that extra piece of value accrual in an effort to rebuild later, but someone that wants to contend wants to come get that rookie pick right now. You may be more open to doing that. Or let's say you're a contending team, you may not be as flexible. You may say, no, I want to draft someone in this class right now. So if your flexibility isn't as high and that's the case, would you be willing to tear down from this pick? Let's say hypothetically you have the 103. If someone came in an offer for you for the 103, what pick are you willing to go back to in this class? Are you willing to go back to the 105, the 106, the 107, the 108? How comfortable are you going further back in the draft? And then what does the plus ultimately have to be from the 105, let's say, the 108, for someone to come all the way up and get your 103 pick? How comfortable are you and where is your flexibility for that? I think understanding that with your team is very important. Now let's give a hypothetical here. Let's say you're a strong contender, but you either lucked into someone else's first round pick or you bet against a team, you ended up being right, and you have the 103. So you have this strong contending team. Let's say you didn't quite win the title, you had an injury or two, and you think you're really just one strong player away from being the top team in your league. In that scenario, when you have the 103, you may be more apt to just say, I'm going to take the best receiver available here. You have good quarterbacks locked down, and you think you're going to have a chance to get a Malik Neighbors or a Marvin Harrison Jr. But what's the difference between Malik Neighbors and Rome Odunze? Are you willing to go back to the 105 or the 106 and take Rome? Or do you have to have Malik Neighbors? So in that scenario, your flexibility as far as what you want to do in draft specifically today may be different. Or maybe you're someone that really strongly believes in a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. or Adonai Mitchell, and you're willing to be more risky to go back to, let's say, the 108, 109, 110. And by being willing to move so far back in the draft and select one of those receivers, you're going to get a significantly higher plus and let someone else come up and get the best pick, the 103 on the clock that you have right now. Now, everything that I've asked up to this point, this is really assessing and understanding my team. Now, when this incoming offer is sent to you, having your handle on your team is extremely important. That's why I start there. But obviously a big factor here is going to be assessing and looking at the team that I'm dealing with in this trade and who's sending me this incoming offer. And now when I look at this offer, is there a reason that they're sending this to me that you can really spot out of the gates? Like, is there a glaring, obvious factor or reason that you can say, oh, this makes tons of sense. This is why they're sending this offer to me? If you see a trade like that where you can spot out immediately or after doing a little digging what their agenda is, how much leverage do you have in this scenario? Is there a chance that they're willing to pay a lot more for this pick? What type of pick are you dealing with? Is this an early first? Is this a mid first where there's a player that maybe has fallen down the board? Or is this like a late first round pick or a second round pick where the values are far different than what we're talking about in the elite ranges of a class like this, or really any class in general? And in particular, when we're talking these middling first and earlier, the players that are extremely coveted in classes, I'm going to be asking myself, how much do they really need or want this pick? And ultimately, is the offer that I'm looking at, that I'm probably considering at least at this point, is this their best offer? Or is there a little more juice that I can squeeze from the lemon? Can I get more out of this player or this offer that is being sent to me for one of my elite valued rookies in this class? So now with that out of the way, understanding your team and the other team in this incoming offer, let me give you a real example, the trade that I made that was coming from an incoming offer to me, so I can give you some context on this specific trade and really help you understand and conceptualize the questions that I'm asking and the reasons why. So with this first one, this is an incoming offer I get. I take a look, what position is my team in? I'm in a nuclear rebuild. I am nowhere near contending. This is a team that had a lot of bad luck and currently is in a bad position as far as assets on the contending side. And I've done a really good job of getting a bunch of picks in the 24 class as well as future firsts. This is one of those teams that I'm going to constantly be looking to turn over in value to eventually get back to contending. So my position, full rebuild. Because I'm in the position of fully rebuilding, my flexibility is extremely high here. Now, when looking at the incoming offer, who it's coming from, and is there a glaring reason? The answer was absolutely yes. This manager, CM Frank, has absolutely nothing at the quarterback room. Jimmy G, Joe Flacco, Tyler Huntley, Nick Mullins, DTR, absolutely zero as far as realistic starting potential guys for this year. So obviously coming up to the 101, we know he wants a quarterback. I know he wants Caleb Williams, and he had been sniffing around for cheaper options. I have Aaron Rodgers on this team, and he was trying to send me a late second for Aaron Rodgers. Now, while on the surface that may seem like a reasonable deal to make, Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old and coming off this Achilles injury. I held on to him throughout this point, and at that pick value at the late second, I think that Aaron Rodgers, when the season starts, I'm going to be able to trade him for a better return than a late second guaranteed in this class when he's starting and playing on the field. Now, is this their best offer, and how badly does he want the pick? The truth is, I know that this is probably very close, if not guaranteed to be his best offer. I know that he was shopping Chase for other quarterbacks, and I know that the A-Rich owner was looking for a second to go along with Jamar Chase, and that's why he all of a sudden was looking for Caleb Williams from me just for Jamar Chase. And when I think about my team, if Caleb Williams comes out of the gates firing, going, there's a chance that he could be my cornerstone quarterback or that I could trade him for a serious haul if he gets to that CJ Stroud type territory, a top 5 dynasty startup pick. But I do think that there are some inherent risks if I was to draft a guy like Caleb Williams, and his value is not guaranteed to pass a guy like Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase currently is going higher than Caleb Williams in startups, and this is a guy that has a chance to end up with a monster workload if T. Higgins ends up leaving this Cincinnati offense. There's a lot of room, I think, for Jamar Chase to increase in value. So when I think about his increase in value, plus his floor basically being a first-round startup pick for the last 3 seasons, being attached to Joe Burrow, this was a pivot I think that was too good to pass up on in the situation. I thought it was pretty close, if not his best offer. And I'm looking at this point to secure a very good asset and mitigate some of the risks that I think comes with Caleb Williams. So that's why I end up making this deal. And overall, the theme of this is, as far as draft day trading goes, this trade was only going to present itself after he had exhausted all other quarterback options. So then once the draft came full circle and we're going to start drafting quarterbacks, and this is a guy that's extremely needy to get a real quarterback into his team, to at least have one in a Superflex league. So at draft day, he was no longer able to stomach this quarterback room that he had. So this is why this trade was presented to me. It had to be on draft day after he'd exhausted all these other options, couldn't get something done, and could no longer stomach this quarterback room he had. So this was the opportunity that I was given with Jamar Chase for the 101. So an outgoing offer. First, what picks do I have? All right, so taking a look at whatever those draft picks are, what are the ranges of outcomes for these draft picks? And then obviously, similar to the incoming offers, what position is my team in after understanding the picks that I have at my disposal currently? And if you want to position yourself differently in the draft and you don't want to get stuck selecting in a spot you don't like or you don't have very much draft capital, you're going to very likely need to be the aggressor. You're going to have to start sending out an offer. You may not be able to just wait for an offer that you really love to fall in your lap here. So you could wait till the draft. And there's obviously going to be a lot more information that comes to us over the next 3 weeks. And with the draft capital, as far as the landing spot and how early they go in the NFL draft, I think right now, if you need to make outgoing offers, I'm looking to see currently what am I needing to do in order to get myself in a position where I feel better about the picks I have or not making as many picks as I currently have at my disposal. So if you're looking to move up or get to a different spot in the draft, who has the pick number that you want? Or who has the picks in the ranges that you want? Who's the manager you got to go talk to if you want to get that draft pick? And once I've established who that manager is, I want to try to find out as much as I can about that person. Are they an active trader? I might go back and take a look at their previous transactions. What have they done in previous years if this is not a brand new league on the clock in rookie drafts? How many trades have they made overall? What do those transactions look like? And overall, what do they really value in Dynasty? What's their team build? Is there anything concrete that you can kind of gather from information in your DMs, previous trade offers, previous trades they've completed, and taking a look at their roster? And you can build a case off of all that information to give a good starting offer on what they might need in a trade to acquire the draft pick that you'd like. And again here, let's take a look at my second trade that I made. This one was an outgoing offer where I was a little more of the aggressor here to make sure this deal got done. And now as far as the draft picks that I had on this team, I had the 104, 105, and 106. So I had a cluster of those 3 picks together there, 104 to 106. And I also had the 109 in the first round. Then I had a ton of seconds. I had the 201, the 205, then I had the 208, 209, 210, and the 212, as well as a bunch of thirds on this team. So I'm littered with draft picks. And when I think about that, I kind of stop and pause there. I have a ton of draft picks and I like having that liquidity, but when I see all these draft picks are starting to reach peak value, I'm thinking to myself, I don't really want to make every single one of these draft picks, and I'd probably like to, if I could, trade out of some of this value closer to peak and get into some more secure assets, even though they potentially may be older and they might not quite peak as much in Dynasty value as one of these rookies that pops. When I have this much leverage in one class, I'm looking to consolidate some of the draft picks and go ahead and get into secure assets, even though they are possibly aging. Now, what are the ranges of outcomes for the picks? What I'm really looking to do here, I want to see if I can package 109, that 201, and maybe even another second round pick and get myself into a receiver that doesn't carry as much risk as, say, Brian Thomas Jr. at the 109. And then also see if I can package 2 of these seconds, which I very well could miss, completely whiff on players in that range, for a more proven veteran at the wide receiver or running back position. And what position is my team in? As you probably can guess, with all of this draft pick liquidity that I have, I'm either in a rebuild or trying to get out of this rebuild mode and into a contender. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm right on the fence of coming out of a rebuild and maybe a few trades away from getting into the mix as far as being a contender goes on this build. Now, the team I'm looking to trade with here, going into before this trade, they were a contending team with some aging assets and probably also needed to acquire some more depth on this team. So the quarterback room he had assembled currently was Joe Burrow, as well as the tandem of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, now Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks. He had Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, guys like DJ Moore, Nico Collins, Mike Evans, and TJ Hawkinson at the tight end position. And this manager doesn't have any draft picks in this class or his first in 2025, so he's probably trying to look to reset his age a little bit while still staying on the contending side of things. So the offer that I'm trying to make with him, I'm looking to see what is it going to take to go get a guy like Nico Collins and Saquon Barkley. Can I package 3 of these picks for 2 legit players? And if I can, what would that look like? So the offer that I sent out was the 109, and that pick was coming up soon. It was going to be one of guaranteed Brian Thomas Jr., Brock Bowers, and JJ McCarthy at that pick, as well as the 201 and the 209 for Saquon Barkley and Nico Collins. He ends up rejecting that deal and sending an offer back that I really wasn't looking to go down that path. So I basically went to him in DMs and said, that's really not the path I'm looking to go down. What would it take to acquire Nico and Saquon Barkley? If I made that 209 to 205 in this class, would that be something that puts it over the hump and gives you enough value to make this 3-for-2 pivot? He ended up saying yes, and we accepted that deal. So the deal we end up settling on is the 109, the 201, and the 205 in this class for Nico Collins and Saquon Barkley. So that was an outgoing offer, and now instead of having to make this 109, 201, and 205 pick, I get myself into what I believe is a top 6 running back option in Dynasty, and while he's getting older and going to Philadelphia, I feel like he could end up being a massive piece on a contending team. And I get out of that 109, which at that point, let's say I get a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. I like him, but I have no idea what he's really going to do for me on the contending side of things, especially not knowing his draft capital and landing spot. And then I get Nico Collins on my team. And while I definitely see that there is some risk with Nico, the Texans may end up drafting a receiver in this draft. I feel a lot more secure in Nico Collins. Even if they draft a weapon to this Houston offense, I think Nico's not going away. And I feel like he is a better value for me than the 109 pick. And I'm kind of pushing this team from all these super young rookies into more of a contender, and I got to do that while also keeping the 104, the 105, and the 106, where I took Rome Odunze, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May in this class. So after making this trade, I feel a lot better. So I think that's where it's a very big difference. Is this an incoming offer to me? Is this something where I'm flexible and can make a ton of pivots on a trade for a specific pick? Or is this a situation where I need to be a little more aggressive to ultimately get what I specifically want to with the draft picks that I have in front of me at the moment? So that's the process, whether it's a trade that's incoming to you on draft day or you're looking to mix it up and send an outgoing offer to someone that's on the clock. Those are the things that I think you need to process and consider before you're doing either one. And some things I really want to go over with you before I send you out of here. I think preparation is key. Typically, preparation is going to pay off no matter what you're doing it in. And I think in dynasty drafts and understanding your league in particular, being prepared for the moment is going to help you do best in the moment when it arises. Also on that note, you don't have to wait until the rookie draft comes up. If you wait until the rookie draft when you're on the clock and no one's made offers to you at that point, there's a pretty good chance when you say, I'm on the clock at 101, no one sends you a strong offer if they haven't already and you haven't really gone out and seen what that 101 is going to net you. So not just being prepped, but going ahead and seeing what type of offers you need to send and what that's going to look like ahead of time. You might be able to get a trade done before the draft starts and position yourself the way you want to be for the draft on draft day. Other than that, I think it's important just to make sure that you're not getting too impulsive and sending something ridiculous as far as offers to obtain that rookie that you've been coveting for the last several months to put him on your dynasty team. Obviously, we want to win championships and do well with our dynasty teams, but make sure you're still having fun on draft day in particular, which for me is one of the most fun days in Dynasty when we're drafting the incoming rookies in a class and trying to see what teams are going to do to position themselves for the following season. That's it. That's all I got. Let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what you thought of the specific trades that I made, given the team build that I had. Did I make the right or wrong move in acquiring Jamar Chase and then ultimately getting Nico Collins and Saquon Barkley for those 3 picks in this class? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you back here tomorrow discussing more Dynasty strategy and trades on Friday. I'm out of this thing.